Dear all, now we are going to discuss the answers for the above given spotters. Okay, the previous video we did our spotters test number 2. Now we are going to discuss the answers for the spotter test number 2. Ready? Number 1, identify the structure. This is lumbricals and we have to number the lumbricals. This is first lumbrical. Okay, this is first lumbrical and this is second lumbrical, third and then fourth. Okay, so first lumbrical, so the nerve supply is, this is the lateral lumbrical, so the nerve supply is median nerve. So lateral 2 lumbricals are supplied by median nerve and medial 2 lumbricals are supplied by deep branch of ulnar nerve. Finished. And then the action is, lumbricals action is flexion of metacarpophalangeal joint and extension of interphalangeal joints. Interphalangeal joints. Finished. So 2 over. Next, this one is Palmar aponeurosis. So Palmar aponeurosis, the clinical significance is Dupuytren's contracture. Contracture of the medial side or lateral side of the palmar septum. It leads to contracture, that is called Dupuytren's contracture, and this Palmar aponeurosis is the continuation of palmaris longus tendon. If palmaris longus tendon is not there, it comes from the flexor retinaculum. Then number 3, this nice fan shaped muscle is Anconeus. It is near the elbow joint, so it is Anconeus. It's present in the posterior compartment. So this entire muscle is Anconeus, right? Anconeus is supplied by radial nerve in spiral groove. So finish radial nerve in spiral groove. And then next one, 4. This one is posterior interosseous nerve. Posterior interosseous nerve is very important. This one otherwise called as deep branch of radial nerve, it pierces supinator. So this is supinator. Supinator is another one important spotter question. The supinator is pierced by deep branch of radial nerve and it continues down as posterior interosseous nerve. So right, posterior interosseous nerve, it lies in the 4th compartment of extensor retinaculum and it forms a pseudoganglion. So it is very important. Next, five is outcropping muscles, abductor pollicis longus and extensor pollicis brevis. Okay, these two form the posterior boundary of anterior boundary of anatomical snuff box. So this area is called anatomical snuff box. So this forms the anterior boundary and this is called extensor pollicis longus. This forms the posterior boundary. I'll erase and you can see it clearly. Okay. Okay, these two are the outcropping muscles. These two are deep muscles of the extensor compartment. So it is supplied by the posterior interosseous nerve. Next, this is the anatomical snuff box what I was talking about. See, these two form the anterior boundary outcropping muscles, abductor pollicis longus and extensor pollicis brevis, and this is the posterior boundary formed by extensor pollicis longus, and this is lying inside the content, that is your radial artery. Okay, this is the branch of brachial artery, and in the roof you have the cephalic vein. Can you see the cephalic vein? I'll erase other things. You can see the cephalic vein clearly. Okay, this is cephalic vein. So this one, it forms the roof, that is your cephalic vein. Okay, this is also can be asked as a spotter question. So this is your radial artery. What is present inside is your radial artery. And then 7 is extensor retinaculum. Already we have discussed about the contents of 4th compartment of extensor retinaculum. Once again, I'll discuss the first compartment, that is the outcropping muscles from the first compartment, abductor pollicis longus and extensor pollicis brevis. Second compartment, you have the long tendons, extensor carpi radialis longus and extensor carpi radialis brevis. And third is extensor pollicis longus. And the fourth is, 4 things are there, extensor digitorum and extensor digiti minimi, extensor indicis, posterior interosseous nerve and anterior interosseous artery. 5th compartment is extensor digiti minimi and the 6th compartment is extensor carpi ulnaris. Okay, this is how anything can be asked in the compartment, and the attachment of extensor retinaculum is also an important sub-question. And the eighth one is dorsal interossei. Dorsal interossei action, dab, I have already told you, dab, ab means abduction. Another one action is flexion of metacarpophalangeal joint and extension of interphalangeal joints. These are the action of dorsal interossei. And 9 already again dorsal interossei only. And 10 is biceps. Biceps is a powerful supinator. Action is powerful supinator. All the muscles of this compartment, flexor compartment, is supplied by musculocutaneous nerve. And number 11 is, you can see the thin tendon. You can see the thin tendon, that is your long head of biceps. This is short head of biceps. And the next one along with that is coracobrachialis. Coracobrachialis usually we keep, if you see the musculocutaneous nerve piercing coracobrachialis, you can write it as coracobrachialis. That is also a very important spotter. This short head of biceps cannot be pinned separately. Together only we will pin. Okay, 10 is biceps. Action is supinator, powerful supinator as well as flexion. And the nerve supply is musculocutaneous. And number 12 is brachial artery. At the level of termination is neck of the radius, divides into radial artery and ulnar artery. It is a continuation of axillary artery. These are all the sub questions, anyone can be asked. Okay, then next one, 13. This is 13, right? 13 is median nerve. Median nerve in the arm, it doesn't have any branches. Median nerve arises from both the lateral root as well as from the medial root. Okay, and then 14 is deltoid. Action is 15 to 90 degree abduction, and anterior fibers, posterior fibers and middle fibers. Anterior fiber action is flexion, middle fiber action is abduction 15 to 90 degree, posterior fiber action is extension. Okay, so 3 actions are there for deltoid, and the nerve supply is axillary nerve. The 15 is teres minor. Since it is very thin, it is teres minor. Look at 17, it is thick, it is teres major. So teres minor is supplied by axillary nerve, teres major is supplied by lower subscapular nerve. And 16 is the space called upper triangular space. The boundaries are superiorly teres minor, inferiorly teres major, and laterally long head of triceps. That's all. And 18 is, this area is lower triangular space, and here is the content, radial nerve. 18 is the radial nerve, and another one content is also there, that is profunda brachii artery. So if they put the probe here, you should write it as lower triangular space, and lower triangular space contents are radial nerve and profunda brachii artery. Radial nerve in spiral groove. This area is also called spiral groove. The radial nerve in spiral groove supplies lateral head, medial head and Anconeus, 3 muscles, and 2 cutaneous branches. One is lower cutaneous nerve of arm and posterior cutaneous nerve of forearm. So totally 5 branches. If you could remember all the 5, you can write, otherwise at least write 3 muscular branches. Next comes the 19. 19 again I have told, this is deltoid and this is teres minor. So obviously 19 is teres major, and 20 is latissimus dorsi. And latissimus dorsi is a swimmer's muscle. So action is extension, medial rotation and adduction. Okay, and then 21 is serratus anterior. Nerve supplies long thoracic nerve of bell, and clinical significance is swinging of scapula. And 22 is lateral head, 23 is radial nerve, and 24 is medial head, and 25 is long head. So the long head gets supply from radial nerve in axilla, and the medial head gets its nerve supply from radial nerve in axilla as well as from radial nerve in spiral groove. Look at this, both areas. So medial nerve is very important, medial head, and lateral head, it gets a supply from radial nerve from spiral groove. That's all. So hope you all scored good marks. Thank you. Best wishes.